Hey, crafters. Good to see you. Tom Creek here with Creek Bank Creations. Have we got a show for you tonight? This is session 2 of Traintober. Woo woo! All right. Tonight's card. This is it tonight. It's a Slimline. Some more of those accessories in that Traintober bundle special. My name's Tom Creek. The name of my company is Creek Bank Creations. My wife Julie and I operate it. We're from Perrysville, Indiana, the land of tall corn and not much more. We're glad you joined us tonight. Are we going to have a good time? We have a full line of dies, rubber stamps, adhesives, paper, all under the Creek Bank Creations name, as well as tools. We'd love for you to join us every Tuesday night right here at 7:30. This month is Traintober. You can go to our website for our products at www.creekbankcreations.com. Use the code TRAIN and get a 15% discount plus free freight off of all orders over $50. Tell us where you're from there tonight as you sign in. Say hello. We'll get going here on this. As I already told you, this is session 2 of the month of October, which we've renamed Traintober. And the Traintober special, let me tell you about the Traintober special, those of you who haven't taken advantage of us, because we have $129.40 worth of products that we're letting out the door for only $90.99. That's about a 30% savings, crafters. You're going to get the Christmas rubber stamp, the ever-loved, something fell on the floor, edges die. That's with the train on it. You see the little train right there. You're going to get the spiral pop-up die, which we did last week. You're going to get the Star Swoosh stencil. The mini Santa die, which we also did last week, and I think it might, actually it's going to be used again this week. The Thanks Be to God 4x6. The Slim Arched Rectangles, part of our Slimline card product line. The Evergreen die, 3-tree die, the Merry Christmas die with the shadow, the Buffalo Plaid, gosh, I'm going out of breath naming all this stuff, Buffalo Plaid stencil, and a 12-pack of our medium weight acetate. There's 11 items in all, just for $90.99. It is called the Traintober bundle. So if anybody's interested in that, you can go back. It also includes a $5.99 PDF download with complete instructions on how to make all free. It comes free. It comes free if you get the Traintober bundle. Check it out. If you want the bundle, it's on our website under the title Traintober Bundle. So we're glad to have you. Mrs. Creek, are you ready to go?
Bring it on.
Mrs. Creek is ready to rock and roll. We've got prizes to give away. We're still shooting for 80 people. Giving away an apron of 80 people. I got some great train questions for you tonight. We're going to have a great time. Here she is. Take it away, Mrs. Creek.
Greetings, crafters. How's everybody doing?
Traintober, woo woo.
Woo. So I'm really excited to be with you tonight, and it has been a crazy day at Creek Bank Creations.
Crazy day.
Crazy.
We could call it the crazy train, kind of like
Crazy.
After
It's
Ozzy
been
Osbourne.
the crazy train. So I don't know anything about Ozzy Osbourne.
I know you don't.
Is that a?
He was rock and roller.
I know that.
He was
So,
rock and
okay.
roller.
All right. Did I mention that my mother forbid Ozzy Osbourne in my house? Okay, so this week I have been challenged by the Lord to be thankful. Thankful. You can always find something to be thankful for. So I've been trying to cultivate thankfulness. Cultivate. So if you know anything about farming, gardening, you know that the cultivator is this giant steel, what do you call it, Tom? Plow? The cultivator? You call it a plow? It's a cultivator. It cuts.
What it does,
It cuts.
it's designed to take the weeds out between the rows.
Mhm.
Okay.
It cuts. It cuts the soil and turns the soil over. If you're ever in the field
They don't do much cultivating anymore because of Roundup Ready beans, but that's okay. Those who don't use GMO crops, which still cultivate.
That's another YouTube video that Tom would like to do. I'll spare you that one.
We can do a trivia question on
There's a
on
spiritual
cultivation.
lesson I'm trying to get to here.
Excuse me, Mr.
So I didn't
President.
come on here to talk about GMO. Cultivator turns over the soil so the weeds and the seeds do not grow. And over the last 7 months, we've certainly had a lot of weed seed thrown at us. All you have to do is turn on the news and listen to the news, and your brain will get filled with all kinds of seeds that you don't need growing in your life. So that our thankfulness can change what we grow. We can grow a crop of something healthy instead of something negative and horrible. So that's been my challenge from the Lord this week. I'll share with you Colossians 4:2. Continue steadfastly in prayer, being watchful in it with thanksgiving. So thankfulness can change your outlook on life and have you growing good things. So that's my little bit of encouragement for you. That's what I feel like the Lord's been saying to me. You have things to be thankful for, find them, and be thankful, even in the midst of very difficult circumstances. So you're here because we're doing Traintober. We're making train cards all month, and it's been interesting to hear and read email from everyone about their why they're making train cards and the enjoyment that they're getting with making the train cards. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. The train.
I think Tom.
Don't miss the train. Whatever you do.
Miss the train. I think Tom may have failed to mention that if you don't want to buy the whole bundle,
because you may have already bought it.
Because you may have already done it, but you just want to buy the instructions.
I did fail to mention that.
Which is lengthy. You can buy the PDF file online, and it has the full detailed instructions for every card. And the bonus card, which we will not get to in this series, is in the instructions. So instructions are in the downloads area of the website, and you can download them. This whole entire little booklet is $4.99.
$4.99. That's
and
right. $4.99.
You can use a coupon
$4.99 are from the diner.
code. So, anybody have any questions before we get going? I'm excited tonight because last week I had enough pieces left over that I have 2 kits. So the giveaway tonight is the spiral pop-up card. You'll have to put it together, but it's got all the parts and pieces. I even put little glue dots in there for you.
No way.
I did.
Glue dots?
So tonight we're working on this card. Any questions, Tom?
Heidi asked if next month's going to be November. November.
Heidi who?
Heidi Hurley. I like that idea.
Heidi, that is a really good idea. I made some cards for November, and I really like them, but I think I'm going to hold off and wait and do those cards in December because they're fairly easy to do. So I think I'm going to hold off. So I'm unsure.
Can we ask Heidi if we can borrow November?
What I'm going to do. Well, your wife would have to be inspired creatively, but that's a great idea.
Be inspired. So, you're inspired the minute you wake up in the morning.
Well, sometimes I made some really, just between us, I made some really ugly stuff today. I didn't bring it to share with you. Aren't you glad? Okay, I'm ready to turn the camera.
I need to take the camera a little bit of it. There you go.
I'm ready to turn the camera down,
and
we're going to get started. So what we're going to do tonight is make a slim card. Now, when I make a slim card, we're going to go over some basics again, and some of the stuff will be repeat, but I want to kind of go over everything. When I make a slim card, I make it 8 inches wide and 9.5 inches tall, and I score at 4. Now, I know there are other people in this industry who have different measurements like 3 7/8 and blah, blah, blah. To me, I just want to keep it simple. 9.25 by 8, score at 4, and it fits in a business size envelope. Okay. So our dies are made to fit this panel. If you have, if you want to make the other size, like 3 7/8 or whatever it is, they'll still fit on there. You just have to stack, just don't use the largest one. They'll still fit. So we do have a whole line of Slimline dies that are designed to fit on the front of the Slimline card. And tonight specifically, we're going to work with the arch panel die, and we will be working with it next week. So tonight we are going to use the J brush. What does that look?
Nothing. I'm listening intently, Mrs. Craig.
We are still working on trying to get a second camera in here so that y'all can see what he's doing. We're going to work with the J brush tonight, and we talked about this last week, but I'm going to go over it again. We recommend the J brush for stencil work, and we recommend one brush for every color. So
every color family.
Every color family. And normally we're using it with dye-based ink. So we have a red brush, a white brush, a red brush, a green brush, a yellow brush, one per color family. And we're using dye-based ink. Dye-based ink is Distress ink, Distress Oxide. Catherine Pooler is what we sell, the brand that we sell. You could use Close to My Heart. You can use Stampin' Up. Dye-based ink, okay? When you use the brushes with dye-based ink, you can blend the colors. You can put two colors in a stencil and blend the colors together beautifully. That's one of the reasons I love the brush. But when we designed the brush so you could use it with other things other than dye-based ink. So we're using it on these cards with Brilliance pigment ink. So this is Brilliance pigment ink, and if you look on the back, it'll tell you usually most of the ink pads, if they're pigment, they'll tell you on the back. And I have one of these in white, one of these in silver, and one of these in gold. And I have one brush in silver, one brush in white, one brush in gold. I do not keep these in my block. If you've ever seen my whole block with the brushes in the block.
The J block.
The J block, which is a wood block, and it's packed away right now because in the morning we're headed out. So we are headed to Tennessee.
Sevierville,
Tennessee. So if you're adventuresome and you want to get out and have some fun, we'll be in Tennessee this weekend. But I don't have the block because it's in the trailer. So these brushes, the gold, the silver, the white, I keep with my ink pad in my craft room. I don't keep them in the block, and I don't mix the colors. If I'm using gold, I keep this as a dedicated gold brush, dedicated silver, dedicated white. The white makes beautiful snowflakes. And I think we're doing that in Sevierville in the Make and Take. Can you grab the card up there?
Hold on.
I'll show you guys quickly the card we're doing in the Make and Take at Sevierville. And if Tom will get it for me. That card, the snowman card up there. So if you're coming, you'll have to come to the booth because
this is gonna be fun.
We are doing, yes, we are using white.
This is so stinking fun.
We are doing, we're doing this.
Is that the Make and Take?
This is the Make and Take.
Where's that show gonna be?
That's
at the Sevierville Convention Center in Sevierville, Tennessee.
So that's what we're doing this weekend. I think
date?
that's the only thing I needed to go over with you tonight.
That's a Saturday.
We are working with the slim arched rectangle die. It is a long die, and if you're using this die, you are going to need the extended cutting platform and extended cutting plates. I've already die cut ours tonight, so I'm not going to actually run the die cut machine, but if you're using these dies, you do need the extended cutting plates. We do have them on the website. Okay, I'm going down.
Going down.
Going downer, downer, downer. Hang on, family. Do I have my camera backwards? I think I might have my camera backwards. Oh, I've got a really bad lag. Am I up? Guys, can you tell me if I'm upside down to you or not?
You're upside down to me. Yes, you're upside down.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to turn the phone around. Sorry. Upside down. Thanks, Jane. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to try to get in closer so we have
Now you're right side up.
less.
But it's funny. The card's moving all over the place.
I love you. Okay, I think I'm there. What do you guys think?
Good. Good. Good.
What is Wanda asking?
About large screen and chat. You can't have the large screen and chat at the same time. You got to do one or the other.
I have both,
You do? You have large screen?
I think.
No, you don't have large screen. I'm talking about full screen video.
Okay, well, that's something we should look into. Okay, so we have our card, and I've already,
Said it was good.
I already have the, I already told you about the size, and we are going to put our stars down on the background of this card. So I am going to put my card down on my work surface, and I'm going to tape it in place with my pearl tape. Now, I like to tape this whole card down with tape. If you didn't want to use this much tape, you could use a piece of paper here and then just tape the top and the bottom of it. I just use my tape and then I reuse it over and over until it's dead. So I know sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of tape, but I like to tape. So you can decide. I'm working with the Star Squish stencil, and it is in your, if you buy the Traintober special, it is included. We're going to take our Brilliance ink. When you buy the Brilliance ink, it does come with this inner liner, and you do want to keep that on your pad. It'll keep that nice and fresh for you. And we're going to take our J brush, we're going to take the lid off, and we're going to pick up some ink. We're going to go back in, and we're going to put that right in our stencil, and we're going to put our star pattern in the background.
I noticed you're going in a circular fashion here, Mrs. Creek.
Mr. Creek, I am doing little circles. I know you're a swiper.
I am.
But I think I just got used to doing little circles, and circles it is. So I'm dabbing in the ink pad, coming over and putting my stencils on, or my stars on, and then I'm going to pull that off, and you see I have that beautiful star background. Now I want to just drop in some stars along the two sides. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to pick up just a little bit of stars here, and I'm going to place stars on both sides. And you can just kind of work this around and decide how you want to add these little stars in. We're going to have a large blue arched rectangle going down the middle of the card. So we just want to kind of fill in that little space on the side. I'm going to pull up a little, put a few more stars up there. Okay, we've got our stars going. And let's put some at the bottom, because we have this white space down here at the bottom. So we're going to just run that across there. And I'm going to throw in a piece of tape here. So if you're like me and you're a wild child with the ink, just tape. Use more tape, and that'll help you control the mess from over stenciling. I could be more careful, but that would take the fun out of it, wouldn't it? Okay, there we go. And we have that beautiful background. Now, this works because we are using non-porous cardstock. This is just regular finished cardstock. So you want to use a cardstock that will absorb the ink. And then what I like to do is do the background work. And then if I can, set it aside and let it dry for a little while. It didn't take long. I'm using the undo to remove this tape. Every once in a while when I use the purple tape, when I'm next to a seam, when I pull the tape up, it gets into that seam and tears the paper. So if you use undo, that will help you release the tape without tearing up the card. So we have our background there, and what we want to do is locate our slim arch die. And we do have the die storage panels and envelopes that you can store these in. We're going to take the largest die out of the set, and we're going to cut the blue the blue arched rectangle. And we're going to end up putting that on our card. Okay. So we are going to adhere that with our tape, super tacky tape. So let's put some tape on it. This slim arched rectangle just gives you a really unique shape. Undo is your friend. Undo is your good friend. We're going to set that right on there. And that's going to give us the base to build our little scene that we're building tonight. Right there. Okay. Now, we are going to cut a frame tonight to put on our cart. Would it, I'll try. So what we want to do is take our arch dies and stack them in such a way that we can cut that frame. So what you want to do is take your second and third largest dies out of your set. Here's my 2 dies.
How many dies are in that set, Mrs. Creek?
Oh, Thomas, I have no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8. Okay.
You got the 2 you have in your hand?
I did. So we're going to
8
take our 2 dies and we are going to lay them down and put tape on the back of them. And this is where you could reuse your tape. Center them together. Put your tape on them. And then we're going to take our foil cardstock and we're going to die cut it. And that is how we're going to get that frame. So that's a really cool little trick. And if you do not have the foil paper, we do have the Tim Holtz foil paper pad on the website. And it is half foil and half gold and half silver. And I love the way it die cuts. It's just really, it's really a beautiful paper to work with. Now I have my super tacky tape on the back of this. So what we're going to do is cut 2 of those and we are going to stack them up just to give them dimension. And we are going to set the centers aside. So that piece that came out of here, you're going to set that aside and you are going to be able to use that on the bonus card. So this is the bonus card that comes with the PDF file instructions. And there is that inside piece that you're going to take and make another card with.
So nothing goes to waste.
Nothing goes to waste. So we're going to stack these 2 pieces up.
And that foil paper is not really cheap either. So
And
that's a good way to recycle.
That, you know, the reason that I made that card was I got to the end and I had that left and I was like, wow, we got that really nice piece left and it already had the super tacky tape on it. We should make a card with it. So that's why we have a bonus card. So we're going to set that in the center and I have the tape liner on the back of it. So I just peeled that liner off, set that there. And now we're going to go back in and we're going to add that other layer. So we're just going to take a little bit of undo, put it on there. We do not need very much, just a little bit all around that edge so that when you go back in with the second piece, you can get that to sit.
Diane Wilcox.
Exactly.
Is that foil paper approximately the same thickness as standard cardstock? Or is it thicker?
Well, that would depend on what kind of paper you're using. The Tim Holtz brand is actually gold printed on top of craft cardstock. So it's pretty stout stuff. I think it's probably in comparison to the 80-pound stuff, really. It's not 110. If you know weight, if you know paper weights. Okay, so we have 2 pieces there.
So that would be standard cardstock.
Yes. So we're gonna locate the third largest slim arch rectangle, which was the one we used on the inside of that stack. So you're gonna take your die stack apart. Take this die stack apart. You're gonna take this die and die cut that with white cardstock, and I have super tacky tape on the back. And we're going to set that right inside that panel.
Amy Buesner asks, why are you doubling the gold? I think I spaced out.
Amy, I don't know if I said why I was doing it. I'm doing it because we are going to add the fence and the train and the village, and we're going to have a lot of depth with all these pieces. So if we put 2 pieces down, it gives us more depth around the edge and makes it all look level. You do not have to do it that way. That's just Julie. And I think it looks nice. It makes the card look more dimensional. So a single layer would certainly work. So we're going to take this and we're going to adhere it to the inside. If you're not confident that you can do this well, then you could put undo down. But I think I can swing it, and I got it. I'm just going to slide it right in there. There's our background. Okay. Now that's our base. So what we're going to do is set that to the side. And we are going to take our gray cardstock and we are going to use a piece 3 by 3.5 and cut the edges, village edge. So here's my village edge. Now I already cut this. So what I would do is start with the piece 3 by 3.25 and I would locate my village edge die. Show you how I do this. And I would set that right on the top of my paper, like if this were my straight edge. Tape it in place, and whenever I tape the die in place, I put the tape on the top, not on the bottom, so that my tape does not show when I die cut. Now, I noticed somebody posted a card that they had cut with this die, and it left a pretty dark die line. This is not actually a die line, but it left an impression. And sometimes that can happen because you're using the precision cutting plate or the magnetic platform. So if you don't like that line showing along the bottom edge, which is actually just the die line, then go back to using the standard platform. And that will help. Standard platform has a little bit less pressure. Now, after you have that die cut, you're going to locate a piece of gold cardstock. And I do have foil on the back of this, and it's 3 by 3.25. What we're going to do is lay that village edge right on top of that gold piece of cardstock. And we're going to take our pencil, and we're just going to draw this line right onto the gold cardstock. So what we're going to do is put a light in the windows of the village. Just like that. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that, but what the pencil will do is dent the foil paper for you. And then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut just inside that line. It doesn't have to be perfect, because it's not going to show.
So you're telling me that is the light in the window?
That is the light.
The light in the window.
The light in the window right there. This is just a little detail that adds a special touch. It also helps the trees from showing through the window, because you have trees behind you there. And if not, the trees show through the window, which is not the end of the world, but this is a nice little touch. So we're just going to trim it out like that. And now we have that piece that we need. And we're going to take our gray village and we're going to adhere it to that gold.
What's the top and the bottom, 3 or 3.25?
Both of these pieces, the gray one and the gold one, are 3 by 3.25. Now I'm just going to lay this on top. And you see how I have that light showing through the window. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Okay, now what we're going to do is take that slim arched rectangle. I said I wasn't gonna die that tonight, and I didn't tell you the truth, because I am. We're gonna take that inside piece, and it's the piece that cut this right here, and we are going to lay that over the top of the village This is such a great little technique, and we are going to die cut that. So here you go. I'm reusing my tape again.
There she goes.
There you
There
go.
she goes
Just
again.
want to make sure you get it set up the way you want. We're going to put it in the die cut machine, and we're going to die cut. So I'm cutting with the Vagabond tonight. So you are going to hear the motor run. Get your motor running. Now, whenever I do these techniques, I am always putting tape on the back of my...
So which way does the paper go?
Which way does the paper go? What does that mean?
I'm not sure. Doris asked that question. Which way does the paper go?
So I have the paper side up and the sticky side on the back. So we're going to remove the die. And I will have that cut to fit perfectly in my arched panel. Now, when we adhere this, I have super tacky tape on the back of mine, so I'm going to peel it and stick it. But when I peel this, when I do this, I'm not going to adhere the top of my village.
Is it 3 inches high or 3 inches wide?
Okay, that's a good question. Originally,
Rhonda, we're going to get you an answer here.
it's 3.25 inches wide. Okay, I don't know how much difference it would make, except for it would just be a little taller or shorter. But so I'm going to reattach the sticker here, and I'm going to stick this down, because what I'm going to do is go back in and stick some trees in there. So if you stick that in there, get it set where you want it, but use that liner, that'll allow you to go back in and pull that out. And we'll do that in a minute. So that we've got our village in there. Okay, now we're going to take our gold cardstock, and we're going to cut the gold cardstock 2 1/4 by 3, and we have the train edge on the top. And you can decide how you want to put that train, how far over you want to put it, how much of the train do you want to show. So I've cut this. Now what we're going to do is go back in and take our pick tool, and we're going to pull out the stars that are in the train wheel and drop those across the top of the card.
No way.
Yeah, way,
no
baby.
way.
Sparkle and shine.
Talk about reduce, reuse, and recycle.
This just gives the card a really special touch.
Can you say special?
And you know we're into
Can you say
special.
special?
Special.
You're special.
So we're just going to pull those out. You want to do this before you go running it through the die cutting machine again, because what I'm going to do in a minute is overlay that die again and run it through so that we have that perfect bottom piece like we want it to match the arch rectangle. God, this one's not cooperating. If you run it through and the stars are still stuck in the train wheels, you will flatten the stars and you will not have, it will be very difficult. So pick out the stars first.
And nobody likes flat stars.
Nobody wants a flat star, baby. There we go. Now what we're going to do is exactly what we did the last time. We're going to take our die, we're going to set it over our train, and I want to be sure to get that edge so we don't cut that off. Now remember, when you put the tape on, you want to tape it so that the tape is out here on the outer edge, not on the inner edge. Because if I leave the tape on and the tape is on the inside, I will have pushed a tape mark down into the foil. Now the other thing is, when you're cutting with the foil, you need to make sure that you have a cutting pad that doesn't have a bunch of marks on it, a clean cutting pad. There are some folks who keep a designated cutting pad for this type of thing. If your cutting pad has a bunch of marks on it and you go cutting, you will put those marks that are on the cutting pad, you will transfer them down into the foil.
Move your card underneath the camera. There you go.
So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you have a clean cutting pad when you die cut, and then you won't have that transfer in. So we've got that cut. We're going to adhere that to the card. And slide that right in. And you can see we're building up all these layers, which is why it's nice to have that second one on there. Now, let's do the fence, shall we? There's our fence.
But are we going to give something away?
Are we going to get, yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Yes, now's a good
ready
time.
for questions? All right.
So we have the spiral pop-up card from last week. Why you do that? I'm going to put the Santa. I cut the mini Santa reindeer, and what I do is I just take a little piece of paper, 1.5 inch square, put some super tacky tape on the back, and die cut these. These are the mini Santas. Okay, go Tom.
All right, crafters. As you know, we live in the Wabash Valley here in Indiana, and there was a country artist. He's an old timer who did a song called the Wabash Cannonball. Listen to the jingle, the jangle, and the roar. Anyway, name that country artist who did the Wabash Cannonball.
Was he singing about this Wabash? Or
About
was...
the train. It was the train.
Oh, it was about a train.
Yeah.
That would be why it's a
I
train.
think
A train
the
question.
train started in Terre Haute, but I'm not sure.
Did you hear me?
What?
That would be why it's a train question.
That's indeed. Yes,
You're
indeed.
so smart.
Right.
So we're just going to add our little Santa, and you can decide how you want to put those on.
Amy Buechner is the winner.
Amy.
Roy Acuff. That's right. Amy, congratulations. Amy Buechner.
Okay, Amy, I don't know if we have your address, so if you want to email us at creekbc@gmail.com, send us your address so we can send you the card kit from last week, and you will have the kit to make the spiral pop-up card. That's fun. Fun. Okay, so we're going to cut the picket fence. This is, all these pieces that we're die cutting are in the Village Edge die. I've had some people ask me, they can't find the train die on the website, and that's because it's called Village Edges.
Village Edges
006. So the white cardstock is 1.5 by 3, and I have tape on the back. I'm going to cut the fence, and then I'm going to take my same die, put it over the top of my fence, and die cut again. So we have a Facebook group called Creek Bank Creations Creativity. And if you try to join, we'd love to have you join us. We've had trouble with getting people in the group, but if you want to try, we'd love to have you join. And I think
Mary Beth and Loretta, I think, got in.
Loretta made a card with the picket fence. I haven't used the picket fence very much outside of this one card. So the Creek Bank Creations Creativity Group is a place that if you're making cards, I would love to see what you're doing. Now, I guess I should put this on the camera. Sorry, guys. I am putting my die on here and lining it up, and I have my tape on the outside, and you want to make sure that you're cutting that straight so that your fence is not going to run downhill. And I think I have it straight. We're going to put this in here and we're going to die cut. So I love with the edge dies, and we have a lot of different kinds of edge dies that you can go back over with another die and transform the bottom of the shape to get it to fit your needs. So there's my picket fence. I'm ready to pop my picket fence on there. And we have pulled together this card just like that. There's my picket fence. Ooh, and I am a little crooked. I'm going to see if I can straighten it up. I'm running downhill a little bit. So if you get these on here and you're like, whoa, that's a little crooked, which is what I just did, take your undo, get it wet, readjust, and you should never have to force, there we go, I can straighten it up. You should never have to force this. If you're peeling on it and you're forcing it, then you just need to use more undo. And it's going to slide around for a minute or so until that undo evaporates. Now what we're missing is the trees. So what I did for the trees is I took some little scraps of green cardstock. I literally, you know, when I make sticky paper, I take my big roll of tape and I unroll it. I put my paper in it and I have sticky paper. So when I'm done with it, like I die cut a big shape and then I have scraps, I throw them in a little pocket and then I have little scraps. So I just got into my green scraps and I took that Village Edge die, this one, and I just cut the trees. So you have 2 trees over here. You have 3 trees over here. So I just cut a bunch of the trees. And then what we want to do is go in and pull that liner back and stick our trees in there. So we have the trees coming out in the background. Just a nice little touch. And you can decide if you want to layer the trees, how you want to put the trees on there. You could add a little white pigment ink with the J brush to the trees if you wanted to add a little snow to them or dimensional. I think it was Loretta that used some kind of dimensional on her trees on her card that she shared with us too. That was really cool. So
you put super tacky tape on the back of the foil paper.
I did. I sure did. I super tacky tape everything because I'm that kind of girl. Now, I know not everybody, some people would rather glue with Art Institute, and that's fine too. Whichever way works for you is fine. So you can kind of move those around until you get them where you want them, make them taller or shorter, and get the look that you want with them. What's fun is you're just using those little scraps. Got a little extra green in that little knot right there. There we go. Okay. Now, my star right there is really close to my tree. I'm going to move him over, bump him over a little bit. Okay, I think we're good. We put our Santa on. We're good. And there we have our train card, slim train card, and then you can open it up, stamp your sentiment on the inside, and we do have, if you bought the whole Traintober bundle, you do have stamps on the stamp set you could use for that. Tom, do you have another question?
I do.
Okay, let's do another question.
Okay.
We have another card to give away.
All right, this is a 2-part question, okay? What country has the longest train tunnel and how many miles is it?
What country has the longest train tunnel and how many miles is it?
2-part question. You gotta have both answers.
Okay, while we're doing that, sorry, I'm going to pull the camera up.
And we're gonna give another train card kit.
Yes, I have another spinner of spiral pop-up. I'm going to pull the camera up. Hang on. What is the question again?
What country has the longest train tunnel and how many miles is it?
Miles.
That's right.
Ugh. Wow. That's a long time to be underground. I really don't like being underground.
Lois Back is the winner. Lois Back is the winner.
Lois. Do you have her address?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. I have Lois's address.
Lois's address. All right.
I think I have Lois.
Okay, so Lois, just to be on the safe side, if you can email us at creekbc@gmail.com, we will get you the spiral pop-up card. You'll have to put it together yourself, but you can watch last week's video and follow my instructions and put it together. So are you going to come over here as we close out tonight?
Oh, are we done?
So yeah, we're done. We're only doing 1 card a night. So we have our 1 card done. And this is good because Tom and I have, we've got a lot going this week. So we got to hit the road tomorrow. We'll be in Sevierville, Tennessee if you want to come join us.
Do they need
So
dates?
does anybody have any questions about anything at all?
Let's see here. Is cardstock too thick to put tacky tape on the back and then die cut? No.
No. So
Right.
I
I don't know if
sometimes,
you heard that question.
so the question was, is cardstock too thick if you put super tacky tape on the back of it? And the answer is no. I cut 65-pound cardstock, I cut 85-pound cardstock, and I cut 110-pound cardstock. And 110-pound cardstock is like really heavy stuff. So you won't have any problems if you put the super tacky tape on the back of it and die cut it with your machine